Hello, hello. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to this special Friday evening live stream. With us today, special guest Sherri Riggs from Whistle Out. Sherri, you want to tell the people what you do and kind of what you're about?
Yeah, I feel like I do what Stetson does.
It's a great, very easy way to put that. That's very true.
Yeah, very similar. I also, review cell phone plans, internet providers. I'm trying to branch out this year into lots more like product reviews, speed tests, more network stuff, spectrum stuff. So the channel started out very niche and we're slowly expanding. But yeah, that's how I found you and like Sneed and all the other people in this sphere. So it's been an exciting 12 months since my channel's been growing. But yeah,
That's
there I
amazing.
am.
Yeah, so this is the Whistle Out YouTube channel. You guys can find it and subscribe in the video description if you're interested to, follow what Sherri's doing, all of her exciting content and videos. And Sherri, I feel like you're putting out so many videos. It's almost hard to keep up. Do you have like a schedule? What's your release look like?
My cadence. Okay, so yeah, I try and do 3 videos a week. I try to do a live on Mondays and then to produce videos on Wednesday and Friday. So my live stream has been like not as regular since the holidays and CES. So we're gonna start getting regular again on Monday. Monday evenings when I'll start my live streams again. But yeah, I do 3 videos a week. It's crazy.
Sherri, that's amazing. We are 2 weeks into 2021, and I have not uploaded a single video yet.
That's
We're
not
You
true,
know,
still working on it. So,
That's okay. Your channel still kicks butt. You still
thank
get
you.
all the views you need. So
Really appreciate
And,
it. But
Stetson, that's not true. You got the podcast uploads,
yeah, we have the
man.
podcast. I mean, it's oh yeah, the podcast. But yeah, Sherri, huge respect for putting out all this content. And today we're coming to talk about our favorite gadgets of CES 2021, right? So, what is like quick overview? What is CES? And then we can just dive right into what our favorite gadgets are.
yeah, so CES is the Consumer Electronics Show. It normally happens in Las Vegas every year in January. It's normally thousands and thousands of companies. I think 4,000 plus companies show up every year. And normally, this is the time of year when every single reporter everywhere is playing with gadgets and getting footage of robots and everything else. But this year, since the pandemic, it was all digital and severely downsized. I think only like 1,000 or so companies signed up. So it was much smaller, a much different experience, but still pretty rewarding if you like dug into it a little bit.
Yeah, so were you at CES last year?
I
Or
was last year. Last year was my first year at CES. So
okay.
yeah, I was a newbie last year. I still feel like I'm a newbie this year, but
You got to
next year,
go. That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool though. Haven't been yet. The digital one was my first experience, and I feel kind of bad for the smaller exhibitors because I feel like the CES show floors where you can really find these niche small products from up and coming companies and get to experience and explore them that, the message isn't necessarily conveyed in an email like, "Hey, check out this product." But when you're on the show floor and you see it, you're like, "Wow, this is really neat," and you get to check it out. This year I feel
yeah.
like we really only saw the big announcements were from the major companies that are typically there anyway. And
Mhm.
then I'm not sure, I didn't really catch too many announcements from smaller companies. But either way, I think we saw some exciting products. So where do you want to start? Do you want to phones? I mean, there's so much. It's a
Yeah,
huge portal.
it is. It is such a huge portal. Let's start with phones. That's probably a good gateway into the
Okay.
rest of it.
Yeah, I think you actually had a video earlier this week on some of your favorite mobile devices, right?
Yeah. Well, there was a few new tech announced on the first day that was all cell phone related, and it was normally. Here's the thing: normally CES isn't really a platform to announce new products for cell phones specifically. Normally, the carriers or the manufacturers are the ones setting up their own. Sorry, one second. There are kids screaming outside my window. I need to close my window real
Yeah,
quick.
yeah, all good,
All
all
good.
good. Yeah, but I'll basically cover for Sherri while she is. Oh, okay, you're right next to your window. I didn't even realize
It's right
that. Anyway, so yeah,
there.
you're right. We don't really see too many phones. I feel like TCL has pretty much been the only one I've seen announce devices. But this year we actually had something unique where we had TCL do something for CES, and then we
Yeah.
had Samsung come in, kind of unrelated, but during the same CES week we had the Galaxy S21 announcement.
Yeah, I think that was very calculated on
Yeah.
Samsung's And they're like, everyone's going to be getting ready to publish all this content anyways for cell phones and tech. We'll just sneak right in there and like fit our little phones in there. But LG also kind of teased a new phone this year, which was kind of one of the most standout pieces of technology.
Let's start with that, Sherri. Let's start with that.
Yeah.
So
it was kind of, yeah. So it's a rollable phone. And initially what was interesting about this is LG wasn't even planning on really talking about this phone at all. It was just going to be that little clip. It was like a 3-second clip in their keynote conference. But then really what happened is nobody talked about anything else online after this conference besides that 3-second clip. Everybody turned it into a GIF, whatever you want to call it. And that's all they've been talking about. LG actually made a extra announcement saying, okay, this is actually called the Rollable phone, and it will be released later this year. We didn't think y'all wanted to hear about it that much, but that's all we have for you. And it kind of broke the internet.
I think this is such an exciting new platform because we have foldables, and now the rollable is like we're on the cutting edge of that. We don't maybe this year, maybe next year. My biggest concern is actually usability and the durability of these devices, because if you have a motorized component that's extending the screen up, to me that just seems like ready to break. So
well, Stetson, we saw the OnePlus do a motorized camera, and some Chinese manufacturers do different things with motorized like flipping cameras. So I don't see a durability as being an issue. What I do see though is maybe the form factor is not taking off. I still think like the foldable phone, if we're gonna go anywhere as far as like design is concerned, probably has more wings to it. What do you think, Sherri? Do you think foldables is gonna be the year? Like, do you think this will be the year foldables take off?
I did like a 2021 prediction video. One of my coworkers, he thinks foldable phones are gonna be a thing this year, but I just don't see the need for them. I think they're kind of silly. I think maybe the application of the technology of like a flexible screen could be useful elsewhere, but in a phone, I don't think it's necessary. I don't know.
I'm with you, Sherri. I mean, to me, I would want like a folding tablet where you have like a 15-inch device that actually folds down and becomes more portable. For me, a phone, like I actually want like a smaller phone that's can easily fit in my hand, can use it with one hand, shoot off messages, check Twitter, do things like that. So I'm not sure how it's going to evolve and where it's going to go. And this product is super out in the future, but we actually saw some phones at CES that we can buy, not quite today, but you can actually buy this year in like a couple months. So maybe we could talk about that. Like TCL, they had some really great, what was it? I think it was they have a 5G phone. It's the TCL 20 series, right?
TCL 20 series, yeah. The TCL 20 5G and the TCL 20 SE. And TCL, randomly, they snuck this into CES as well. TCL came out with a rollable phone similar. And
that we should not, it's so bad we shouldn't even talk about it. But what is it? We have to, because
it's like, it's so silly. It starts out like half the size of my iPhone and then expands out to a normal sized iPhone. Look how derpy that is. It's
just why?
It reminds me of like when Samsung first made the edge screens. It reminds me of like the very early generation of Samsung phones when they did that.
Yeah. I just again, I think, let's see, who has a rollable TV right now? I think, does LG have a rollable TV?
LG is the one who's crowning the rollable TVs.
Okay, see, I think a rollable TV is a lot more like a more applicable type of scenario for a flexible screen. Like, not everybody has room for like a TV on their wall, so if it can roll down into something small and roll back out, like, look, my TV is chilling on my couch, so that's my example for that. Like, I don't have room for a TV in my room. If I had something rollable, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, sure. I think that's actually kind of scary and alarming that your TV is just balancing there precariously on your couch behind you. That is not safe.
God.
Like,
I never knew that.
Why?
Why don't
is
you
there
get
no
a-
other space for it?
No, there's really not. Like, I'd have to mount it, and I'm moving out of this apartment in like a month, so I don't want to take
okay.
time to mount it.
Yeah, that
Why
makes
don't you
sense.
get a projector?
That's my next thing. There were there's a few projector companies at CES that I'm going to be like, can I test out your projector?
Well played, Sherry. I love that. I love that. Yeah, most people sit in their couches, but if you want to put the TV in the couch, that's cool too. I can respect that.
It's not as precarious as it looks. The edges are hard. It has a good place to balance. But we'll get back to the phones. So the 20 series from TCL, they're budget phones, which TCL
like 400 or around that.
Yeah, so this phone right here is I think this one is $400, and the SE is only $180. The difference there is the SE is not 5G capable. So
well, even this one, I was actually checking GSM Arena just to see like what TCL is doing here, and the only bands that I was finding is it looks like band 41, right?
Yeah.
So this will work on T-Mobile, but I don't think it works with any of the other networks with 5G.
Yeah, I mean, if you look even too on the 4G bands, I mean, it's missing band 12, it's missing a lot of bands for the U.S. market. I think TCL is not going to take off in the U.S. and it's going to be kind of like Huawei, right? They're just not going to come.
Yeah.
Definitely designed for other markets. So I was actually way more excited about the S21 and what that was offering because I thought that was such a cool device.
Oh yeah, I from Samsung.
Yeah. Are you getting one, Sherri?
I might get one
Okay.
via Whistle Out. I'm gonna see if Whistle Out will buy one for me, and then I can use that as my tester phone too. So that's like on my list for this year is to have specific phones for specific carriers, so I can be testing out the coverage better than I have been, which has only been really AT&T so far.
I'm actually I'm very surprised you don't have that already. That I feel like would be like number one. Whistle Out, the cell phone comparison aggregate, the champion of the internet. Their TV cover, like the YouTube channel you should have one phone on every network ready to go.
I know.
Sherri to make her excellent videos.
That's that was on my goals for this year to get done. I think I didn't really quite know what I was getting into when I started this channel, and so I was kind of doing like the simple topics I could get by without like testing networks. Sure, but now it's getting to the point where I really have to expand and get these different SIM cards and get these bunches of different phones to test out these networks. So that's definitely coming up.
Well, Samsung will be your best friend, I promise you, because of the service mode where you can actually see what bands you're connecting to and you can force connections. If you get a Samsung S21, you should be good for all the networks.
Yeah, that's a good point. Can we just talk about how beautiful these phones are?
Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
I've never really been drawn to a phone, like a Galaxy phone before, and where I'm like, oh my gosh. But as I was watching the event, I'm like, these are so pretty.
I love it. I love it. Sherri, what color would you get? Are you like the Phantom Black? Are you about that? Or are you more of like the Phantom Silver or Phantom Violet?
I'm gonna get the if I don't get the Ultra, I'd go with the Violet.
Yeah.
If I get the Ultra, I'll go with the Phantom Black.
What about you, Stetson? What color are you looking for? Because you bought it.
So I bought it, and here's what happened. So I like the two-tone style of the Phantom Violet. Okay, I gotta respect that, but I'm not really a violet person. Okay, it doesn't really fit my.
It's not your brand.
Yeah, thank you. Exactly. I've been really into silver phones recently, so I thought about that. But I ended up going with, actually, it's not pictured here. It's the gray one. They didn't have the black for the smaller S21. So I'm getting this kind of grayish color, I guess.
So you're getting the S21 Plus?
No, it's the smaller one. So it's just the regular S21. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Got it.
I'm more of a small phone person. The S20 last year, I had to get the Plus because that was the only one with millimeter wave. And I'm excited they're bringing millimeter wave to the smaller phones this year.
All of them, yeah.
Yeah, which is great.
And the smaller one's only what, $700, right? It's like way cheaper.
Yeah, it was actually $799. So $200 price cut across the board with all of these devices. I was really happy to see that. I was sad to see the disappearance of the expandable storage with the micro SD card. And how do you guys feel about plastic backs? That's another kind of thing.
I mean, plastic is a really good material actually for phones. It's way more durable in drops. It's very useful, and you can actually do a lot of cool things with the colors. So for me personally, I don't necessarily mind it. I do think that for the for these supposedly to be like the flagship phone, they probably should have stuck with glass backs just because that's the more premium material. But I mean, at the end of the day, most people are slapping a plastic case on anyway, so does it really matter?
I was just gonna say, I mean, people are putting cases on whether they're clear cases or colored cases, so I'm not sure the material on the back really matters. But there are those people who refuse to put cases on their phones because they just like the actual. They don't like to have a case on there, which I think those people are psychopaths. But
that was me, Sherri, last year with the 10s. I got Apple Care, so I was able to rock it without a case.
That's fair. That's fair.
Hey, Stetson, so now that Samsung's bringing back plastic backs, would you be a proponent of liking to see removable backs come back like they did in the S5 days? Or do you think that was like an ugly like design choice that's not necessary?
You know, I thought it's not really necessary in my opinion. I actually prefer, I think, the tray that you can pop out as opposed to a back that you can remove. But I actually appreciate the plastic for how light it is. And I think it'll actually be more durable and hold up really well to scratches and things like that. And it'd be nice if it was replaceable. Like if it got damaged, you can just snap it off, snap a new one on. That would be really cool. But otherwise, I'm kind of fine with it. I think going with more of a unibody design does allow for slightly thinner phones. And that's kind of why I'm a supporter of it.
Fair point, but think about all the cool accessorizing you could do. Like if you did have a removable back, picture getting like your own, like picture some company making like custom backs for the Samsung phones. Maybe you get your best phone plan's logo, right? And you just slap it on that puppy. Now that phone's truly yours. I feel like that'd be so dope from a customization standpoint. And plus, removable battery, totally underrated because, you know, batteries are usually the first thing to go on a phone, right? Mm-hmm. So if you could swap it out real quick, it's a cheap and easy replacement and it wouldn't require going to like Samsung and setting your phone back.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, I mean, I think those were kind of the big announcements for phones, I feel like. TCL, they had their 5G phone that's not going to actually be great in the market. And Samsung, they had their S21, which will be pretty good. Great cameras, pretty great hardware. I'm most excited about the Snapdragon 888 processor, the integrated X60 modem, testing out those networks. But yeah, there is also like other devices from CES. So would you like to expand beyond the mobile landscape?
Sure. I will add one more thing to mobile.
Yes.
Kind of along the same lines we were talking about, though. Motorola came out with a 5G phone, the 5G Ace. And at first I was like, oh, this is awesome. But then we run into the same issue here with the 5G Ace is that it only covers sub 6 gigahertz network or spectrum. It's like, why create a phone that can't access all the 5G and then call it like a 5G phone? I think it's just like sneaky marketing to be like, look, we have 5G. Don't work too close though.
Yeah. It's so disappointing because from my testing, the low band 5G on T-Mobile and even Verizon's DSS, it just hasn't been as fast as LTE. Like there's actually no point. So yeah, if it doesn't have millimeter wave, it's a no buy for me. I mean, maybe the phone is great and it's a good value, so you get it, but the lack of millimeter wave has always been disappointing to me. So I love that Samsung's including it and Apple as well.
Mm-hmm.
Real quick, before we move off the phone topic, I know it's always fun to talk about the bleeding edge, but was there anybody that caught your eye as far as budget phones? Like Motorola, unveiled their whole lineup of budget phones. Was there anybody that kind of like took your breath away in that like sub $200 space?
Not that I have seen. Probably the best budget phone was from TLC and Motorola. But I didn't see any other super budget phones from CES this year.
Yeah, my stance on budget phones, and I'd be curious to hear other people's thought about that, is I would rather buy an older flagship phone than a newer budget phone. Like I would rather get the S8 than a new cheap phone, because I personally find that sometimes the budget options, they just feel slow and the animations aren't as smooth. And when you're using like a flagship, like one of the high-end phones, even though it's a couple years old, it was designed to be absolutely the best of what that year had to offer. And I find the performance is often a little bit better.
Well, the budget phones this year are also all getting 5G support. That was the exciting part. So
are they getting millimeter wave though?
Yeah, they're getting like full 5G support. That was the exciting bit. That's like super exciting. So if you did do what you were saying, Stetson, got the S8, you're giving up all that nice wireless tech.
You would get great LTE service. I will say that. And you would miss out on the 5G. Okay, one additional note before we move on here. I'm a big fan of buying gently used, and there's a site called Swappa. I just want to point out you can currently get a Galaxy Fold for $569.
What?
Right? Is that worth it?
Yes.
Is that first
I
gen or
think so.
second gen?
So these are the original Galaxy Folds as opposed to the Galaxy Z Fold. But we can take a peek at what the Z Fold is.
Yeah, I'd be
'Cause I-
so curious. This
'cause
is
I
a
remember the
beautiful website.
Fold. I remember the original Fold had that screen peeling issue, if I remember right. I think.
Yeah,
I
you're
could be-
correct. So that's I'm hesitant there, but look, I mean, you can get a gently used Z Fold, the lowest one here, $1,190. That's cheaper than the just announced S21 Ultra. Okay,
Oh yeah.
so
Hmm.
I don't know.
Intriguing.
I think as these become, as the secondhand market opens up with people who are early adopters like myself, and they, I don't know, don't need them or they test them out, I think it's kind of a interesting, intriguing option because it's launched at $1,000 not too long ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's wild.
So Sherri, there's something I'm curious about.
Yeah.
So you were talking about making 3 videos a week,
Mhm.
kind of like behind the scenes. I was just curious, what do you actually use to create your videos on? Are you like a MacBook person? Are you using like an Asus laptop? What are you actually using to create this content?
So some of the times I am editing my own content. Most of the time I have a dedicated editor, and his name is Derek, and he is magic.
Shout out to Derek.
Shout out to Derek. He does really great with like animations and creating templates and just making it look much higher quality than I could. About like maybe like April or like February last year, my branding changed on the channel. Like my thumbnails changed and the edits got a lot more high quality. That's when he took over and fully just like put all of his energy into Whistle Out. So I'm not sure what he uses. I think he's on a MacBook and he uses Adobe Premiere Pro.
Nice,
Okay.
nice.
Well,
Sherri, was it? Oh, sorry, Dennis.
I was gonna say the reason I was asking was because I don't know if you watched the unveiling event for Asus's new laptops with them finally making some high-end, basically gaming PCs with AMD CPUs inside, which have really good performance for the power, and they have the updated new 3000 generation of RTX graphics cards. So that's why I was asking about that.
Okay, yeah. I work on like a 2019 MacBook Pro when I do edit, but that's what I'm on right now.
Is it weird hearing your own voice when you edit?
It used to be, but I used to be a broadcast journalist, and
wow, okay.
Yeah, that's where my career and on camera started. So I'm used to kind of like reporting and having to like look at my own edits and look at and like being on like the anchor desk or whatever. So it used to weird me out, but I've heard my voice so much now over the last I've been working in TV or YouTube for like 6 years now, so I'm used to it.
I feel that too. It was definitely super strange when I first started, but now it's just you get used to it.
Well, Stetson, I know you're mostly a Mac guy.
I'm a Mac guy.
But for editing on the road, if you ever end up having to do like a long travel for some testing, did any of those Asus laptops that came out catch your eye?
To be honest, not really. I was more excited about the M1 MacBooks.
Okay.
Yeah.
I guess I'm the only PC person.
Yeah, you're
here.
a PC fan.
Go away.
I can segue this into I want to add this. Here we go. Wow, full screen layout. We had another unveiling from CES, and this was the LG Ultrafine. So, Sherri, should you be interested in upgrading your editing setup at home or just getting a really nice monitor, this one is, I believe, the first consumer standalone monitor that uses OLED, which is those perfect pitch black pixels.
Yes.
And it's going to look great. The only thing I'm wondering about, so it's 4K, 27 inches. We don't know about burn-in. And when you're using a computer, a screen, like my menu bar is in the same spot 24/7.
Right.
My dock is typically in the same spot 24/7. So I'm concerned burn-in could be an issue with this. We'll have to wait and see how LG kind of handles that.
Burn-in won't be a problem, Stetson. because what manufacturers do is they will actually move the pixels like ever so slowly. Like you personally won't notice it, but they're constantly moving the pixels every so often as a tactic to prevent burn-in. So that shouldn't be an issue as long as the panel has good quality assurance to it.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
So this looks super exciting. I'm probably most excited about this. This would be the one product from CES I would end up getting.
Okay.
Yeah. If
what's the cost on it? Did they say?
They did not say. If I was a OLED panel, I would probably be $1,500.
Yeah, that sounds about right for something like that.
Yeah, that's pricey. Ugh. Intense gamers, designers. I don't know who else. Editors, maybe creative types, maybe would love something like that. But for the average person just working at home on their computer, this probably isn't like a necessary purchase. You know, this is like definitely targeted towards the creative types.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's definitely creators, because gamers, we don't really care about. I mean, we might care a little bit about visual fidelity, but what's more important to us is like response time and refresh rate.
Fair,
and
yeah.
OLED, as far as I'm aware, I think caps out roughly at 60 hertz. I don't think 120 hertz panels are too common on OLED. So,
well, for TVs, they're there, but I don't know for monitors. But Dennis, what you may be interested in is the LG Ultra Gear. Okay, so LG had their virtual booth at CES, which we have entered now, and this is where they announced some of their gaming. Okay, hang on, we got to turn that off. Where they announced their gaming monitors, and one of the ones that stood out to me is they have one with HDMI 2.1 with variable refresh rate support. So this is going to work beautifully with the next gen consoles. So you can get your at-home workstation and turn it into an at-home PlayStation with either a PlayStation or the Xbox. Not to just do that, but I thought this was kind of a neat, idea where you combine all your entertainment into one device.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, and
I'm down for that.
I'm super excited too, because I don't know if you saw, but it's actually an IPS panel, and IPS tends to have much better like color accuracy versus the TN panels that you commonly see in some of the cheaper gaming monitors. So that is actually something that I'm pretty jazzed about. It's funny that you picked that.
Yeah.
My favorite part of that monitor is the back part with that LED strip. I love that kind of stuff. That's so fun.
Sherri, did you catch any of the smart home accessories and LED RGB products that were debuted at CES?
Very quickly, I went by those. I saw a bunch of like robot for like home, like smart homes, stuff like that, robot dishwashers and robot like self-assistants or whatever. But I didn't catch all that you caught. But what was your favorite thing that you saw about those things?
I think the favorite one that I stumbled upon, and my trick for browsing through all this was to go on YouTube and watch videos at 2x speed. But
yes.
Let me see. Here we go. It's called Twinkly, and I'm going to pull it up here.
I was getting a ton of messages from Twinkly.
Sherri, you should be like, yes, please, sign me up. Send me everything, the whole catalog. Check this out. So they have some RGB squares.
Yes.
What do you think? Would these work in your apartment, your new apartment, wherever you're moving?
I think those would be so much fun. I was like, I would buy those. And you can make fun designs, set them up all cool, like a gallery wall. I don't know. When I saw those, I got real excited. I'm like, I can put those in my background for filming. I'm like, that would look
business
so cool.
expense. Yes. To get these.
Yes, seriously though. And you know what else I loved from them? It was like it almost looked like a glow stick, but like
I know what you're talking about.
Change into different shapes.
That's this. It's the Twinkly Flex.
Yes.
So, you want to describe? It's basically a tube, but you can do more than just have it vertical. What can you do?
You can twist it into all the shapes: hearts, circles, squares, squiggles. You can combine. I mean, not connect them, but you can combine a bunch and make them into words and stuff. I mean, the possibilities are endless with lines. You can do anything with a straight line.
Yeah. So I was really excited to see this product showcase from Twinkly. Mixed feelings about that name. I'm not sure Twinkly sounds super cool, but
it's not super impressive or manly. It's like definitely geared towards like female decorators, or I look at my twinkly lights.
Yeah,
Like
well,
I feel like
if you get someone who's into home decor, you know,
yeah, yeah.
maybe this is a big win. But yeah, I love this.
Yeah, I was a huge fan. They emailed me a few times. I do need to get back to them. But now that I see this, I'm like, oh shoot, I do want that.
Right? Like if you saw this set up at a booth, you'd be like, "Oh, of course I want that." But when you
That's
just get
so
like an email like, "Hey, we have these RGB lights," you're like, "Okay, you and everyone else." Like
Yeah, true. It's very true.
You
And
know,
that's the hard thing about this year. It's like there's probably so many cool products out there, but you just can't see them in action. So you just see these stock photos or whatever they may be, and it's like, ugh, you don't see how awesome it is.
yeah.
You know what I'm picturing, Stetson? I'm picturing like a live stream where we have these twinkly lights in the background, and anytime like we get like a big donation or something, that person's name just shows up on the twinkly background. All the little colors are going off.
That's pretty
That'd
cool.
be
That'd
great.
be awesome.
Actually, speaking of donations, quick shout outs to Dan. Thank you so much for the super chat. He appreciates all the testing you do. I'm going to say that as like a general you. So Sherri, congratulations. Thank you for doing all your testing as well. We really appreciate it. And Septine, highlighting the Snapdragon 730G coming with the X52 modem and supporting both sub 6 and millimeter wave. I think this relates back to Dennis,
What
what
I
you were
said.
talking about. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Super
but-
exciting.
Real quick, I don't know if you guys saw some of the robots that Samsung was coming out with, but I'm a really lazy person, and they're doing this thing. It's called the JetBot 90 AI, and basically it's like a Roomba on steroids. Like it literally like
I saw this.
goes around your home, picks up all the junk off the floor, and it has, I believe, a self-emptying garbage bin as well, so I don't have to do nothing. I know this is really laughable. That's one of the smart products that got me most excited because I hate vacuuming.
We actually have a robot vacuum in my apartment, and it is fantastic. We love it. We call it HAL 9000, and it syncs up with our Alexa, the A-word, devices, and we say it's like great. So we say Amazon Echo, like start, ask HAL 9000 to start cleaning, and she goes, all right, here you go, and the robot just de-docks and starts cleaning our house, and we love it.
That's so cool.
Have you guys ever seen the TV series Westworld?
Yes.
Okay,
Oh,
so Samsung's event, I'm not gonna lie, made me think of Westworld. I'm not gonna lie, like they had
I can see that.
like they had that little one-arm robot person that was like helping people out, and like
Handy.
the dude that was talking, I don't know, I just got like this huge like Westworld vibe from it. I was super excited, but it made me think of that show. Yeah, that's the one I'm talking about. Yeah.
So we have the whole family here. So we have Handy. He can do dishes, set the table, pour you beverages. I'm not actually sure what else he does. He does that. That's a thing. And this is the vacuum right here.
Yeah, that vacuum looks baller.
It's
Dude,
great.
it's probably gonna be $1,000.
I know. I mean, that's actually not too bad.
I was gonna say it might be more than $1,000.
1,500?
Oh my god. I want it. I want it bad. I also want Handy, man. Handy doing my dishes, that would be really awesome. Have him make me a nice cup of coffee in the morning. I would love to have that.
I was thinking about it, and I actually feel like the robot would go so slowly. I would get frustrated, push it out of the way, and just have to do it myself. Like I wouldn't be able to handle it.
Well, Stetson, the goal is you set up like an alarm where at like 7 a.m., right? You tell it have your coffee ready, so it's already prepared by the time that you're coming downstairs. In fact, I actually have a coffee machine where you can actually put the coffee grinds in, and you can set the time for it to start brewing, so it's already done being made, and you just go to the pot and pour it. So
Nice.
I'm sure it wouldn't be that difficult.
I would love a robot that does dishes in my house because I am really bad at doing dishes. I'm the person that's like, oh, I don't need to do them right away, and they sit until the next day.
Oh no, that's when the food like gets all crusty, and then they're actually
I put
harder to
water
clean.
in it. No, I put water on it.
Okay. Way to save it.
I take the time to put water on it, but I
Okay.
don't take the time to wash it.
No, I understand that. Yeah.
If I had a robot I just could cook my food and then say, clean it up, and then it would do it. That's my dream scenario. Was it the Jetsons cartoon that had a robot that would like do the dishes in its stomach, like open up?
Oh my god, yes,
like-
it was.
That's
Yeah,
what I need too.
Her name was oh god, I can't I'm gonna Google search. I forgot her name. Jetson's robot name. I think it was like Betty or something. Robot name.
It was-
Rosie.
yeah.
Rosie. Rosie was her name. That was the robot that you're talking about. Yeah, she would throw them in her. Oh man.
When I saw that robot, I clicked something and I was like, I haven't seen the Jetsons in probably 15 years, but I think that was a thing that was in the Jetsons.
Well, you would love my mom. That's like literally one of her favorite cartoons, that and the Flintstones. So
yeah.
that's pretty awesome. I want to get on to something that's a little bit nerdy, and I hope you guys don't mind, but what did you guys think about the unveiling of Wi-Fi 6E routers finally hitting the market?
Yes, I'm all for it.
Yeah.
Sign me up. I want 3 of them everywhere. Actually, Dennis, what's actually different with Wi-Fi 6E? I kind of I missed that.
Okay, so Wi-Fi 6E is the first time in like decades that the government actually released additional spectrum to be used for Wi-Fi. And Wi-Fi 6E is going to be taking advantage from the 5 gigahertz range to the 6 gigahertz range of spectrum. This is going to provide additional bandwidth channels, capabilities to support gigabit and faster Wi-Fi speeds. Like they've already done lab tests where they've been able to see like 3 gig over Wi-Fi, which is awesome.
That's insane.
And it's especially nice because I was telling you, Stetson, that in apartment complexes right now, one of the issues that you'll find is that because there's so many different Wi-Fi networks so closely together, there's not enough different channels to get on, so you end up having like interference and congestion, which hurts Wi-Fi performance.
Yep.
So this extra spectrum range should alleviate that issue and just be an end-all improvement significantly for people. Unfortunately, there's not any devices out at the moment that support 6E.
This is like kind of one of those chicken and egg things where you actually need the Wi-Fi standard to be developed, and then you need it deployed in the Wi-Fi router, and then you need your devices to actually adopt that standard. So it'll be like probably this year we'll see. So I think the Galaxy S21 is actually the first phone I'm aware of that supports it, and we'll probably see it from other manufacturers on 1 to 2 year timeline, something like that.
Yeah, we'll need it for TVs and laptops. I mean, and then we'll have to all upgrade to those things that make it so it's faster. It's like,
no, bummer.
I'm sure they'll come out with an adapter. I mean, USB 3.2 or whatever they're calling it now can easily make a USB-C adapter that will let you take advantage of the full Wi-Fi speed. So I'm sure that won't be too big of an issue. But
did you guys catch the TVs that were announced? Speaking of getting TVs hooked up to Wi-Fi 6.
Yes, LG. I know you were super excited about LG's like 2nd generation OLED panel.
Yeah,
and that was looking pretty cool. I'm not necessarily looking forward to that particular model. Actually, the one that got me excited was Samsung because they were showing off their micro LED tech. Did you see that?
Sweet, yeah. Okay, one of these tabs has it open.
That's the one I'm actually thinking about going to buy. Like, I only have one TV, but what I'm thinking about doing is that TV that I sent you, Stetson, that 55-incher. I'm thinking about putting it in my room, and then I'm thinking about getting that micro LED TV that Samsung was showing off for my living room.
That would be absolutely sweet, Dennis. Yeah, so micro LED, for those of you who don't know, is like OLED, where you get that perfect contrast. The pixels actually turn off, but there's no organic matter. So there's no risk of the material degrading and getting burn in. And that's what's so exciting.
And it makes HDR content so much better.
Absolutely pop. Yeah. I'm big excited about that.
The TV I'm excited about, I think they did this one last year too. It's like a TV that looks like it's off, but it's like displays art, and it's like the frame TV. They came out with a new one again this year, and I'm like, oh, one day I will have that TV.
Do you guys remember the see-through TV that they showed off from last year's CES?
Oh, so cool. So fun. I did a TikTok in that TV.
Wow.
I was going to say, but would you actually want to own that TV, though? Because from what I remember, Linus Tech Tips did like a review on it, and he was showing how like the video quality was depended on what background you had, basically.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's here. So we actually saw another one this year from LG, and they call it a concept TV. So I don't, to Dennis's point, like if you don't have a black background, like you're losing out on so much information.
Yeah, I don't think it's super realistic, but it's fun for like events, maybe like event planners. It could be a cool thing, or like high end. Well, I don't know. All I can think of are like concerts and whatever.
I think it would be cool if they could combine it with AR technology and sort of get like a hologram vibe to it. It's like, you can touch the TV screen and like drag like a coordinate map or something on like the background, and then you can interact with how you'd make the cut on that specific wall for some construction job or something like that.
You know what would be this would be
Sorry.
great for board games. If you actually turn the TV into a table, you could have a dynamic board game show up. And like you could swap games, you could have your pieces there, it could save game profiles and setups. I think that would be cool.
That would be sick, but I definitely do not see it as being my like general all-purpose, like I'm gonna sit on my couch and watch TV and entertainment TV.
Yeah. LG is showcasing it in this scenario where it could potentially be used in a restaurant setting to see your food being cooked prior to eating it. They also showed it on the side of a subway car, so you could see transit information as the scenery is kind of flowing by. And they also slapped it in a rollable TV that you could put at the end of your bed, which I thought, Sherri, what do you think of that? That's the next thing you're putting at the end of your bed? Probably not.
No, I don't totally get having a see-through TV at the foot of a bed. I see maybe like getting a rollable TV, like I mentioned earlier, having a rollable TV at the foot of your bed, come out and being like, zoop, and then having it roll back down. But a see-through TV seems a little useless.
I have a great idea. I have a great idea for the technology. Take the see-through TV, but instead of using it as a TV, implement it in a car. So have your main front window be like that see-through technology, and imagine throwing up like Google Maps and getting legit like make your turn here, and you can see like the little blue path. That would be a good use for the tech.
I think that'd be cool. Yeah, I don't think even LG knows what to use it for, because in this demo, there's actually a TV behind the transparent TV.
So cool. Oh my gosh.
Well, LG needs to hire me, because I'm telling them right now, if they implement it in a car, I'm telling you that thing will make big bucks. Put that thing in a car, have like on-screen navigation in your car. That's how you should use it.
Another thing, well, this is kind of changing subjects a little bit, but glasses.
Yeah.
The AR, VR glasses. There were some that had similar technology like this, where if you're walking down the street, you put on your glasses, like if you're a tourist or something, you type in the address of where to go, it'll have the actual path lined for you on the glasses, and you can follow it through. So similar to what your idea was, Dennis, but just in glasses form.
Yeah, that would be pretty sick. The glasses are kind of cool. Like I remember HoloLens being like a thing, and I remember Google Glass. The big problem was, if I recall, was just like battery life and like some limited functionality there. That's why I was thinking having it in a car where you have a constant power supply might be nice. But I didn't really catch anything at CES this year. Who showed off what this year? Because like last I remember of that stuff was HoloLens, and I don't remember hearing much about it recently.
Yeah, this year lots of people are thinking AR glasses are going to have a comeback, because like Google Glass appeared, like a decade ago more, and it nothing really happened with that. But there were multiple smaller companies that showcased some AR glasses, which was pretty freaking awesome. But there's smaller companies that you've probably like never heard of besides TCL and this glass.
Yeah, so this is actually virtual reality. So this is a completely immersive headset. And I think what is challenging about creating that augmented reality is you have to wear the headset. You need the display to be transparent so you can like see the object in front of you as well. So this is actually kind of a different approach, where TCL is basically taking the traditional chunky like HTC Vive behemoth headset, slimming it down into something that's a lot more stylish, portable, light, potentially more comfortable, and in just like a nice kind of compact form factor.
Well, as someone that owns the Vibe, I can definitely tell you that looks very comfortable. I have the first generation HTC Vive actually set up in my apartment right now, so that does look cool. And I will just say, by the way, TCL really the biggest person that surprised me. Like, I know TCL because of their TVs and them being budget, but they are doing a lot of different cool things. Like, it's kind of exciting.
One of my favorite things is they're actually announcing an 8K TV. If you 4K wasn't enough, we're already on 8K. But what was cool here is TCL's implementing this in their 6 series lineup, which like the current gen 6 series is like $900 for a 65-inch. So if TCL is able to kind of undercut the competition and make 8K the same cost as like, one of the 4K options from the big TV manufacturers, I think that could be really compelling. And they also introduced their OD0 mini LED technology, which is basically where you have a bunch of LEDs backlighting the panel. And with this generation, TCL made them even thinner. So they sit flush with the panel and provide significantly better contrast ratios for LED TVs.
The other cool thing with, I'm not sure if it's all TCL TVs or what's one specific version, but they announced they're partnering with Google to get Google TV on their TVs along with Roku and other apps. So it comes built in, which is pretty awesome for people who tend to switch between streaming apps and don't stick to or just like Google TV. So I think that's a pretty big announcement that happened in the world of streaming this week too.
Yeah, absolutely. My current TV uses Android TV, and I'd love to get Google TV. I think it's a really slick interface. I love how it aggregates everything together. So you can hey, I want to watch this show. All right, great. You click on it. You don't have to worry about jumping into this specific app. Like, wait, was that one? Is that Netflix? Is it Hulu? It's just boom. You just pop right in and start watching, which is fantastic.
Yeah, so you're totally right. TCL was freaking awesome this week.
One thing I will just say, though, 8K is good on spec, but the important thing is, aside from actually having that many pixels, they make sure to get the back panel lighting right. I think I remember seeing some LG 8K TVs and Samsung 8K TVs, and I actually remember them looking noticeably worse than their 4G counterpart, just because the maximum peak brightness wasn't as high, so it couldn't support that high dynamic range. I was also just going to mention as well, do you think 8K is going to be kind of like a gimmick? Like, is there a noticeable have you guys actually seen 8K in person? Like, was there a noticeable difference for you guys? Because for me, I didn't see any.
I haven't. Do I admit that? I don't know if I should admit that.
Go to a Best Buy. You'll see what. There you go.
I agree with you, Dennis. I think 8K is basically overtaxing this screen for no real reason, because suddenly the processor needs to process like 4 times as much information, and it needs to upscale 99% of what you're watching because there's no native 8K content. So I think it'd be better to just optimize picture quality for 4K, and at a regular viewing distance, 4K panels look fantastic. Like, you don't need 8K at all. So
yeah, I mean, the only place I can see 8K being beneficial are in 2 areas: on really large billboards and in a movie theater environment. And those are like the only 2 locations that I can see 8K actually being useful. But otherwise, 4K is better, and companies should be focusing more on post-processing, improving their upscaling technology, because there's still a lot of content that isn't even in native 4K. Like most stuff that comes on live TV, for example, at best it's 1080p. So improving their upscaling technology would be much more beneficial, in my personal opinion. Sherri, thoughts?
I wish I knew more about TVs.
Fair enough. Well, Sherri, how do you personally consume most of your content? Is it on that TV that's on the couch, or do you watch it on your computer, or what do you do?
Yeah, it's mostly on this bad boy behind me. It's a Vizio, and it has all the... Yeah, it's a perfect TV for me. It has all the apps I need. It's smart TV. I can stream from my phone or cast from my phone. It does everything I need. I love it.
And what is so we kind of we talked about entertainment yesterday, and one of our things we talked about was our favorite platform. For you, Sherri, what do you like best? Is it Roku? Is it Fire Stick? Is it Android TV, Apple TV? What is your personal favorite platform? It
depends on what show I am binging at the moment, because I like to hone in on a series and just do the whole thing at once. And right now I am currently doing that with the entire series of Survivor.
Nice.
So I'm spending a lot of time on Hulu right now and Amazon Prime. They're both on. What isn't on Hulu is on Amazon Prime. So whenever a season's not popping up, I switch between the 2.
Sorry if I didn't phrase that clearly. I'm talking about the actual platform, though. Do you prefer Roku's OS or Fire Stick OS or Apple TV?
Or just what's built into your TV?
Yeah.
What's built into my Vizio TV is what I use. Okay. So Vizio has all I need, minus Disney Plus. I wish I had Disney
Ooh,
Plus.
yeah, that's great.
Ooh,
I
that's
Yeah.
surprising.
I hopped in a Verizon family plan, of course, with people I met on Reddit, and I've really been enjoying Disney Plus, specifically The Mandalorian. But that's
Yeah.
actually only it, nothing else, just The Mandalorian. But I love it enough that it's totally worth it.
Yeah,
But-
I won't buy Disney Plus. I'm literally using my girlfriend's, and I only did it to binge watch all the Star Wars movies again, and then watch The Mandalorian.
Fair.
It's fantastic. So I think, Sherri, the big question I have is the TV is on the couch. Where do you sit?
On my bed.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, maybe I'll do a room tour for one of my videos. It'll be 10 seconds long. Here's my bed.
I'm in a room tour right now. Ready, everyone?
Yeah.
That's it. That's the whole room.
Hey, Sherri, just curious, did you I don't know if you caught it, but at CES they showed off a lot of like hair care products and like different like cosmetic products and hygiene. Panasonic though came out with a new hair dryer, which Stetson, I'm just gonna share you the model so you could pull this up for the viewers.
Yeah, absolutely.
I was just gonna ask if you got excited about any of these like kind of like nifty little gadgets of sorts. Like if anything like that made you be like, huh, I'm gonna spend $150 on a smart hair dryer.
Sure. So one thing about me is I will spend stupid amounts of money on makeup, like just strictly like eyeshadow or eyeliner, lipsticks. But when it comes to like hair products, like hair dryers, I don't remember the last time I blow dried my hair.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm not huge into, because my hair, I'm by the coast. It's Southern California. It's kind of humid, but yeah, my hair is like, it's just constantly just like fluffy anyway. So I don't really do much to it.
All right.
But let's see that hair dryer. I wonder what's interesting about it, because there's
basically
healthier hair. This actually makes your hair healthier. You just healthy instant.
No, basically their claim to fame is that like a traditional hair dryer, like they blow that like harsh heat and it's like bad for like your hair ends, and they came up with like some new way to like dry your hair that's supposed to stop from split ends from happening. And it's also pet safe. In case like you want to like use on your dog. I just thought it was kind of funny because like a lot of times me personally, I get so hyper focused on like, you know, like what we do, phones and different things, but I never took the time to look at like the things we take for granted, like little minor improvements.
Yeah. Interesting. That's a really interesting piece of that article you highlighted. It doesn't dry your hair, it pulls moisture from it.
Yeah, it doesn't use heat. Like it like
Yeah, so I think what happens is if you dry your hair, it dries out the hair as well because there's no moisture in it. This sounds like it's basically condensating the moisture in the air and adding that moisture into the hot air it's blowing to make sure it's not drying out your hair.
Interesting. Yeah, see, that's interesting, but not for me. I would never buy something that expensive. The one hair dryer that does intrigue me is the Dyson hair dryer that looks like the donut hair dryer. I'm like, okay, I can get on board with that.
I would get that. I have absolutely no use for it, but I think it looks sick. I'll get a fan.
Really cool design, yeah. They killed it on the design.
It looks so futuristic. It's my absolute favorite.
Yeah, there was one section of CES this year that has never been there any other year before, and that was the COVID technology section.
Oh my god!
I don't know if it was an actual. I don't know if it wasn't an actual like COVID themed, but so many companies brought in like smart masks, which I didn't know was a thing, which I'm really excited about. Yeah, razors. I was like, when I saw that, looks legit.
It blew up the internet.
Yeah,
it's crazy.
It's so cool. I have a few. That's not real. It does not exist yet. It is just computer animated.
We could make this. This is something we thought about making.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. There were other masks that are like masks with built-in phones or built-in speakers into the mask, so you don't have to take off your mask when you're talking on the phone. By the phone mask, it's called Mask Phone, and then there's another one called Air Pop, and it's a smart mask that connects to your phone and tells you when you need to replace the filters, the quality of the air you're breathing in.
I feel like that's too much. I'd be overwhelmed. Like, oh my God, I'm not breathing right.
That's true. Every time you get a notification, like there is a cancer particle in the air.
I was breathing without a mask for the first 23 years of my life. Do I need to swap out filters now? Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's so true.
I'm just picturing a world where we get to the point where we're buying canned fresh air, like the Dr. Seuss cartoon. Did you guys see that with like the trees? Like they cut down all the trees and you had to buy canned air.
Yeah, what's that cartoon called?
I can't think of its name, but it was literally. I just remember the Dr. Seuss cartoon and seeing it on Netflix at one time. I just don't remember what it was called.
The Lorax.
The Lorax. There we go.
This does have some neat stuff in it. So it does have a microphone on the inside and speakers on the outside. So it will sort of demuffle your voice. I think that's cool. It goes around your mouth and has lights on the inside so you can see the other person's mouth, which I didn't realize. That's actually helpful when you're talking to people. And of course, Razer, they RGB'd this thing. There's lights everywhere. And that case right there will actually sterilize it with UV light, which is neat. So I think it's neat.
Very cool. It is cool. Very neat.
Imagine getting a voice changer and sounding like Darth Vader at like a Comic-Con.
Or like Bane. This actually looks like Bane from The Dark Knight.
But,
I think something like that will come in handy for post-COVID, where people are starting to be vaccinated and say like events are starting to happen again, like festivals. Someone who is a hardcore raver or someone who wants to like invest in a mask, who's not ready to go maskless yet, will buy that and we'll just tear it up on the dance floor at like Coachella or something, and with the flashing lights and whatever else. I think that's what that mask will be for. I don't think it'll be like an average consumer be walking around like green splattered on their face talking through a microphone inside it. But
yeah, like how much are you willing to spend on a mask?
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Speaking of post-COVID world, Sherri, did you see at CES they unveiled the Pocky Talk S, which is a device that can literally actively listen to a conversation and instantly translate it back to you?
No. That's cool.
This is a godsend. So I suck. I'm good at a lot of things, but I suck at learning languages, and I'd love to travel. And one of the places I was planning to go to before COVID threw a monkey wrench in it was Japan. And this would be my best friend. Like, this is an investment that I want to make for Japan and other like Eastern Asian countries like Taiwan or China. I just wanted your thoughts on a tech like this. Do you think it's cool, or do you think it's kind of pointless because of Google Translate? Like, I wanted your thoughts on that one.
No,
Google
Translate and the other apps have their place. I've used Google Translate a fair amount as well. I think it's great for what it offers, but for something like this where it's the only job is for it to translate, it's not another app on like your phone where it can potentially be slower, or who knows. I think I love something like this. I travel a lot too, and I would carry this around with me everywhere. It's the worst when you're like, how do I get to this place? And you're in like China and they're like, you just have no idea how to communicate. I think that's perfect. I love it.
Sherri, where have you been internationally?
I have been to East Asia, so like South Korea, Hong Kong, and Japan a few times. And I used to live on an island out near Guam called Saipan. It's like a heavy Filipino population out there. And then I visited Costa Rica for about a month last year, and that's my countries.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which was your favorite to stay in? So.
Oh my gosh, it's so hard. Japan will always be my favorite. I think I could go visit Japan over and over again. Same with Costa Rica. I would love to go back to both those countries.
Yeah. I was gonna say I've been to 9 countries myself, most of them in Europe. So like London, France, Italy, Greece. I've actually been to the Grand Cayman Islands as well, and it's not a country, but I've been in Puerto Rico and stuff. But and Thailand. But South Korea was my favorite. I lived there for a month. And the reason it was my favorite is because the U.S. has a large military presence there. So first, there's a lot of places that have like both English and Korean as like on their menus and stuff. Also, what I love is that South Korea took a really good approach when it comes to travel. So like if you ever take one of their trains, what you'll notice is they'll have it in English they'll have it in Korean, but they also have symbols, and everybody can understand like color blue line equals this path, right?
Yeah,
so, like,
yeah.
South Korea was like hands down the easiest place to navigate
I
as
agree.
like an American, and it was
Hong
cheap.
Kong is like that too. Hong Kong has a similar travel system as well.
Stetson, you've been to a few places, right? Or am I off the mark?
So yeah, traveling I've done. I took a trip to the kitchen, layover in the living room, and then I had to connecting flight actually back to the bedroom. So yeah.
Oh.
Anything ever get lost in translation during that journey?
Have you lost your luggage?
Things have been misplaced. I think most of it made it actually, so pretty good.
Oh man, losing your luggage is the absolute worst. I don't know if you've ever been through it, Sherri, but I don't ever want to wish it upon you. It's a nightmare.
I haven't, and that's the one thing I wanted to talk about too. Getting back to tech a little bit, has to do with losing luggage. The Samsung tag.
Yes.
I thought that was the most ridiculous thing they could have ever announced.
Whoa, that
Like
went in a very different direction than I was expecting.
Bad way?
Yeah, what do you mean by ridiculous?
I hate it.
Whoa! All right,
Hot
Sherri, I'm pulling
take
it up
here.
now.
Yeah, let's hear it. Let's hear it, Sherri. Let it loose. Let's go. Why do you hate it?
I need to find. Okay, you know what? I don't have my prop here, but here's why I hate it. The Galaxy tag. If they had made it potentially to have like a cellular signal, great. But this is the exact same freaking thing as the TileMate, and the TileMate is cheaper, and there are a million other products exactly like it. I think it's a useless waste of plastic, and it's much more expensive than the other products already on the market, and I don't like it.
And it only works with Galaxy phones.
Yes.
Like you need a Galaxy, so you need a network of Galaxy devices in order for this thing to actually function. So if you're out in the middle of nowhere, boom, gone. And I was talking with my flatmate about this, and you get it, and you're like, sweet, I'm gonna keep track of everything. Battery only lasts for 2 months. So around the same time, you're like, oh my god, I think I need to replace the battery. Where did it go?
Yep.
It's gone, right? So
yep, that's why I hate it even more. Let's see how long a Tile battery lasts.
Well, it's funny because they're pushing it pretty hard. I think if you get the new Galaxy S21, aren't they bundling it or something?
I'm actually getting one. Yes, so, I'm getting one. Yeah.
But my big thing with it, and the reason, so I don't hate it like you, Sherri, but my big thing, or the reason why I wouldn't use or trust this product, is it only has a distance of 130 yards that it can keep track of. And like you, I actually really like Tile. I actually own quite a few of those, actually.
Mm-hmm.
Very useful product.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I can see these are fair criticisms. Hopefully Samsung will kind of step their game up and kind of learn and maybe introduce like some cellular technology, like you said, or maybe make it universal and not require it to be a Samsung product to work.
I think it's too late. If they launched it as Samsung exclusive, that likely means they're doing something special with the tech.
Mm-hmm.
But I meant like maybe for a second iteration, like maybe this will flop and they'll do a second iteration type of deal.
Mm-hmm.
I will say TileMate 4-pack for $70 isn't too bad.
That is not bad at all.
That's but if you look, Tile makes even like higher end products too. Like they have a whole line of
Pro.
stuff.
We can go pro.
Yeah, there's some like intense ones like made of metal.
Yeah, look at that range, Stetson. 400 feet over Bluetooth. 400 feet. That's nuts.
Yeah. Let's highlight that for the viewers.
Mm-hmm.
Pro 400 feet. Yeah.
For comparison, the Samsung's 130 yards, but I'm having a struggle doing that conversion.
That's actually pretty close to 400 feet. Because there's roughly 3 feet in a yard.
Yeah.
Oh, well then, dang. I guess I thought. Oh man. Okay, I guess
just
it's the
slowly eats words.
well, you know us Americans and our math. But still,
I mean, it's a fair point. I mean, this is a more open ecosystem. Tile's clearly been in the game longer, and they're actually probably really disappointed about the Samsung launch because they. It's kind of competition. We have the rumored AirTags coming up. So, yeah. But that's interesting, Sherri. I didn't realize you're so guess. Do you have a Tile? Are you a Tile owner?
I am a Tile owner. I bought one for myself after misplacing my keys 5 too many times. And it is awesome. I love it. And I love the technology and the idea behind it. I think it's a good thing for people to have. But I just think I just don't like that Samsung was like, let's make something that's already been made and not make it much better. Like, there's nothing different about it, and I think
I
that's
hear that.
me. But
Well, on the topic of things that have been made before, what do you guys think of Samsung's Galaxy Buds Pros that they unveiled at CES?
they seem legit.
I'm down. They took some features from Apple, which I actually love to see because I think Samsung users will really like that. We're getting 3D audio, right? So if you're watching, here we go. Perfect. I actually have the Samsung brand. If you're watching your phone, you actually turn your head. The audio still is stationed, so it sounds like it's coming from the phone, which is really cool. Noise cancellation that's active instead of just passive. And all right, my favorite feature, when you're listening to music, you have noise canceling on. You start talking to someone, you want to have a conversation, it turns off.
I was gonna say that was the coolest thing they announced. When like the AI technology in it, I was like, ooh, I like that.
That would be so sick. The one thing I was listening to the Vergecast, and they were like, "Well, like, what if you like to sing to your song, you know, or like you talk to yourself? Like, is it just turning on and off and on and off?"
That's hilarious. I didn't
So
think about that.
Yeah, yeah. But yeah, we've been here for just over an hour, and I know it's like 5 p.m. What is that, West Coast? So 5 p.m. on a Friday is a pretty good time to call it a day. So maybe we should wrap this up here. Pick maybe one favorite item from CES, and we can boogie on out of here for the weekend.
Ooh, one favorite item. I'm really digging the AR glasses.
AR glasses.
Loving
Interesting.
AR glasses, yeah.
I would have thought it would have been the lights, the twinkly lights.
The twinkly lights are really up there too. I don't know. There's so many things. We'll go with AR glasses because I think I would wear those pretty regularly.
Sweet. Dennis, you have a top pick?
It's hard, but I know it's going to surprise you, but I'm probably going to pick that new Samsung micro LED TV.
Oh, that's great. I would have picked that too. I mean, that micro LED will be my TV upgrade when I'm ready for it. And it's not insanely expensive, like $50,000 to $100,000.
And yeah, the reason I picked that is because it's probably going to be one I can afford. I mean, if I had an unlimited budget, obviously it'd be those robots, but there's no way I could realistically afford them probably.
Well, the vacuum one maybe. So I like it. And my favorite, I'm going to go with that OLED monitor. I would love like 2 or 3 of those and just...
Yeah.
I do a lot of work in spreadsheets, and it would just be the dream. So.
Oh yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, so that is going to be it for this fantastic special episode of, it wasn't even an episode, it was just a live stream. So I want to thank you, Sherri, for joining us tonight. It was fantastic having you on. Ladies and gentlemen, again, you can subscribe to Sherri Riggs in the video description. She's at Whistleout. And I think there's actually like a Twitter handle. I think you're Riggs Sherri, is that right?
Mm-hmm. Riggs Sherri on Twitter.
So there you go. Yeah, either way, that's going to be it. Thank you all for joining us, and have a wonderful weekend.